So you've either received the accounts of a business you want to buy and you're wondering what to do next, or you don't even know what financial information to ask for in the first place. So how do you figure out what a business is worth? And how do you work out how to finance the deal? Now here's the thing. Even though I've got a knack for numbers, when I was looking to buy a business, I still needed help to fathom the figures. Not just to work out what the businesses were worth, but also to work out how I was going to finance the deal. Sound familiar? Have you been asking for accounts and when they arrive, you sit there scratching your head, not sure where to begin? Ever thought, what do I even need to ask for? How many years of accounts is enough? How do I value a business from all this information? Maybe you found a business you like, but you freeze. No confidence to negotiate, scared to sound stupid in front of the owner, worried you'll make a bad offer, or worse, no offer at all. And meanwhile, you see other people quitting their jobs, buying businesses, and enjoying the financial freedom and independence that being a business owner brings. And you think, how do I get that result? You feel stuck working for someone else, building someone else's dream, feeling undervalued, underpaid, and fed up. Can you relate? Here's what I realized. I needed to be confident when I spoke to an owner. Confident that my offer wasn't just fair, it was the right deal for both sides. That I could back it up with numbers, but not just any numbers, the numbers taken straight from the accounts of their business. But also that I could show the seller how they'd get paid and show myself whether the business could afford the finance I needed to buy it. But here's what may annoy you. You've probably seen the hype. They'll flash the freedom, the big deals, and they'll say buying a business is easy. But when it gets to the point of taking action, do they show you how to actually work out the value? No, they don't. With all their hype, not one of them shows you the spreadsheet calculation. Because the truth is, most advice out there sounds good until you need to run the numbers. That's exactly why I created AcquiCalc, a simple, practical spreadsheet template that lets you value the business properly, see how the deal could be funded, understand what the seller gets, and make sure the business can actually afford the funding necessary to buy it. The last point is crucial and often misunderstood, because here's the deal. Buying a business isn't about how much you can afford to pay, it's about how much the business can afford to pay. Yes, you might need to put in a deposit, but the rest of the deal, this should be driven by whether the business's own cash flow can support the funding and not your own personal income and savings. In other words, the business should be able to pay for its own acquisition. But here's the point. The deal lives or dies in the details, and the details are in the accounts. But the reality of the matter, no one can accurately value a business or work out how to fund the deal just by glancing at a set of accounts. Not with any real confidence anyway. And that's exactly why AcquiCalc is a game changer. It takes the raw numbers from the accounts and transforms them into clear, actionable insights, so you can understand the value, structure the funding, and present your offer with confidence during negotiations. Now, you might think your biggest challenge is the price, but there's actually a bigger gap, and that's the gap between you and the seller. Let me explain. The seller will want top money. They'll focus on the future potential of the business, and they'll want the entire price paid as cash up front and to walk away. But you're the buyer. You'll want to pay a fair price, but only what the business is worth. You're focused on the past, on historical numbers, on risk, and on making sure the deal works. Your aim is to pay as little upfront as possible and to put the majority of the deal on finance, and ideally using seller financing. And that's where most people get stuck, because no one teaches you how to bridge that gap. In fact, they, the business brokers, make it worse. They'll hype up the future potential, tell you that the business is poised for growth, and insist it's worth every single penny. But when you sit down with the owner, if you can't clearly show how you value the business and how the deal is funded, why would they take your offer seriously? That's the problem. They're selling the dream, not the data. You don't need to be a finance wizard. You just need the right tool, and that's what AcquiCalc is. So if you're ready to stop the guesswork and confusion and start negotiating, to speak with confidence, negotiate like a pro, and finally buy the business that will change your life, start with AcquiCalc.